Let's now move to Buffalo. The alleged shooter in the Buffalo supermarket attack appeared in court yesterday with some relatives looking on. The 18-year-old pleaded not guilty to killing 10 people and wounding 3 others during Saturday's shooting. Prosecutors say a grand jury has already voted to indict the accused gunman, but a formal announcement won't be made until after their investigation is complete. The suspect is also facing a hate crimes probe from the Justice Department, which could result in federal charges being filed. If found guilty there, he could receive the death penalty.
Let's go to Buffalo, New York. We've got the host of MSNBC's Politics Nation and our good friend, the president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton. Hey, Reverend Al, before we talk about Buffalo, I want to follow up with this economic discussion we've had, because we had a focus group that was played yesterday. Elise Jordan played focus group, and you're telling me about it. We're hearing more and more about it, that as the Democrats move toward the fall, that we're finding, and I know you're finding too, with a lot of black voters, you have Republicans hostile to Joe Biden. A lot of black voters, though, what we're finding in focus groups and what you found are at times ambivalence towards Joe Biden. What's he doing? And we're just reporting what we're hearing, and an awful lot of frustration. And this was down in Georgia. Tell me what you're hearing, and why is there that disconnect right now between black voters and Joe Biden?
Well, I think the economic issues go across racial lines. As you move around the country, as I do, you're hearing a lot of ambivalence around the question of President Biden in the black communities, because, one, the cost of living, when you are disproportionately as economically disadvantaged, it hits you even harder. So, for example, here in Buffalo, where we're dealing with this issue, the only supermarket within a 4-mile radius was a supermarket where the shooting was. So the economic implications of that is you have to drive out of the neighborhood to even shop. Well, the price of gas is a real problem for you when it goes up, up, and up, when you have to do a lot of external, your immediate community traveling, and the gas prices go up even before you get to the social issues. So I think the economic issues are a real problem for the administration, even though I don't think they caused them. The one that is sitting at the wheel is the one that has to deal with where the car is headed and who's driving. And these are real difficult problems. Interest rates on homes, rents going up. The economic conditions, when you look at the black community, we're still almost doubly unemployed. So it takes on an even more acute sense of pain in our communities, which causes ambivalence at best.
Well, I'll validate that, Reverend Al, with even more, because if you're a black woman in America or a woman in America, you're worried about feeding your family, inflation. You're worried about feeding your baby, no baby formula at this point. You're worried about abortion rights being taken away, that looking extremely possible. And then, of course, if that's possible, what's next in terms of your rights? If you're a woman, you're feeling very deeply about that right now. And if you're a woman in America, you are recovering still from bearing the brunt of the COVID crisis. I think the White House has a lot of challenges in terms of messaging to the very voters it needs.
I agree. And when you're a black woman, and I was raised by a single mother, so I know firsthand of what you refer to. When you're a black woman, you're dealing with racism and misogyny, and you're being devalued not only by the broader white community, but in some cases in your own community. And now you get slapped in the face with your right to choose. At the same time, you're dealing with racial attacks like we're here in Baltimore and Buffalo dealing with. I mean, it is compounded. And at the same time, you hear people talk about the black woman is the one that is the bedrock vote of the Democratic Party, when it seems like no one is hearing your pain or feeling your pain or hearing your calls.
Rev, I want to ask you about your visit with some of the families of the victims in the Buffalo shooting, the 10 people killed just buying groceries. We talked a couple of days ago on the show about Ruth Whitfield, 86-year-old mother, grandmother, who had just visited her husband in a nursing home and went through to buy some dinner and was killed in the aisles of that supermarket. How do you begin to bring some peace? How do you begin to bring some justice eventually to these families?
You know, I came yesterday and met with 4 of the families. We had a big rally last night at a local church, the mayor and others, and I keynoted it. And as long as I've been in this work, I think that the talking to the Whitfield family and the 12-year-old son of Deacon Patterson is something that touched me beyond the words I could express, as well as going to the site where it happened. Mrs. Whitfield, 86 years old, used to go every day to the nursing home to see her husband, who is ill and barely knew anyone. And all of a sudden, she's gone. Patterson, a deacon in the church. These people weren't activists. These people were bedrock pillars of the community, killed for going to the grocery store, headed to get groceries, and explain to a 12-year-old kid why his daddy won't be there anymore, or to talk to grown children of the Whitfields whose mother was exemplary and wouldn't miss a day going to see their father in a nursing home. How do you explain that? So, yes, we're going to fight to get justice. Yes, they are planning funerals. Some will be private today, others throughout the week, and I'll be back and forward. But all you can do is say that we must put in place what needs to happen to stop these hate crimes in the black community, where we've seen it from Charleston now to Buffalo, in the Jewish community from Pittsburgh to San Diego, in the Asian community in Atlanta, and Native Americans, and the Latino community exemplified by El Paso. I've talked to the Attorney General on the phone. There's a meeting today. Some of us will be joining, we're having representatives join NAACP. This needs to stop. These are real human beings whose lives have been taken from them, and their families will never be the same.
Hey, Rev, before we let you go, you say you've talked to the Attorney General. Do you feel a need, do you need to get in and talk to the President, the Oval Office about this, about the continued hate crimes, about the challenges that are being faced in the black community? Do you think maybe it's time for a face-to-face meeting?
I think it's time for a face-to-face meeting. I think, and I've talked, I did get a response from senior White House officials about the summit that we're talking about across racial lines. But I think a preliminary face-to-face, so he can understand firsthand, not the palace guard around him briefing him, but from people that are on the ground telling him what's really going on and the urgency of the moment. He has to rise to this occasion. We are in an era of hate, and the president has to rise to the occasion like Lyndon Johnson did and others, and he will not get that second hand. He needs to have that first hand with those that are on the front lines of that struggle.